From supercar to NASCAR, we got late model sportsman action coming up for the next project. Come on back in a minute and we'll talk about it.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
And welcome back. We are ready for a new project. And as I said earlier, we are going to be doing a late model sportsman car this time, the Richard Petty AMT Dodge Dart late model sportsman car that he ran. I remember when Richard Petty would bring this car to run in Nashville. Also had a real, probably one of the biggest in the South, late model sportsman feature race that drew, like it does now, Winston Cup drivers from all over the Southeast, all over the country actually, but mainly in the east of the Mississippi River. You know, and just people like Red Farmer, who is actually my favorite driver, period, of any round track racer. You know, people like him, Dave Marcus, you know, the Allisons, you know, all of the big name, pretty much most of the big name Winston Cup drivers from the South fielded a late model sportsman car of some sort. So they would come here. And I remember when he brought this car, and he was always, you know, in Petty Blue, and we will be using for the Petty Blue actually this color, which is Delta Ceramic Coat multi-surface satin, and well, you can't see it in the dark. It's actually called Meridian Blue, and it's not, sorry about that. It's pretty close to Petty Blue. It's a little bit, it's a tad, maybe a shade dark. It's close enough for what I want, though. And every time, I don't know, those of you who've remembered Richard Petty or are old enough to remember Richard Petty from the 70s, every time you saw a car of his, whether it be the NASCAR, whether it be the Winston Cup car, you know, the late model sportsman car, whatever, every time you would see one, it would be a different shade of the Petty Blue. And I read an article that a sports writer had written from one of the race car magazines when he interviewed Richard Petty, and Richard talked about how that shade of blue was just a mistake. Well, not a mistake, just a happenstance, pretty much. They threw some blue together, some white together, mixed a little bit more blue together, and came out with that color blue when they first started. And of course, as time went on, and then Chrysler got it and called it, you know, got the mix the way they wanted it and called it Chrysler Corporate Blue. You know, they changed. It's been lighter blue than this. It's been dark, you know, pretty much what you see on the box art. You know, it's been, you know, several either lighter or darker shades of this blue here. So I pretty much got what I'm, you know, for in this scale too, it doesn't really matter. It's close enough for government work, as they say. So that's what we're going to do. And I wanted to make you aware too that in the progress of this build, maybe not the next video, maybe 2 videos from now, and I promise you I'm going to not wait so long in between videos. I'm going to paint the body. If you want me to do it on camera, I'm going to do, like I have been working with the Pache, my Pache Vision airbrush, which I've had for a long time, and it's become one of my favorite guns. I've been working and experimenting with the craft acrylics, and I've kind of steered away from using them on bodies, but I have experimented with the fan cap with this Pache Vision gun with a .6 millimeter needle and nozzle setup, and the fan cap, which the fan cap's not on there now. That's just the regular standard crown cap, if you will, and not needle nozzle. That is the .6 millimeter needle nozzle setup in there, but that's not the fan cap on it. And I have come up with a pretty surefire method, or at least a pretty surefire technique for applying craft acrylic on a body that lays it down super smooth, super even. It actually came about in me experimenting with the Candy 2.0 colors of Auto Air. Their Candy 2.0 colors, and as those of you who are experienced with spraying candies, you know that if you do not put it on perfectly even, it will tiger stripe, and you cannot get those stripes out. I don't care how much you go back over. If you do not lay it down evenly and do your 50%, at least 50% overlap, if you've got just a standard nozzle on your airbrush, this fan cap attachment that comes with this Pache Vision puts a spray pattern out that covers the entire car. The mix that I have come up with as far as the ratio of paint to thinner, and using the multi-surface satin paints especially, but pretty much for all the craft acrylics, allows you to put this down super smooth at 30 pounds, super even without the pebbling that kind of goes along with those of you who have used craft acrylic and have kind of gotten disheartened, or have, at least what has been translated to me through private messages and what have you. That has been one of the complaints about craft acrylic, is the pebbling, if you will. Not necessarily graininess, but how craft acrylic sometimes will go on and there will be little bumps and little uneven layers of paint that go down. It's not necessarily fish eyeing, and it's not it's not orange peel. It's just what's called pebbling. And I think this method I've come up with, this technique, it's not a method or a technique. I shouldn't even say that. I'm not trying to say that I invented this, but with this technique I will not ever spray craft acrylic again on a body now, or a large piece of the kit, like a chassis, for instance, without using the fan cap anymore. It's just it's quick, it's easy, it puts down thin, even layers of paint. And I've also been kind of going to the hairdryer in between coats, 3 or 4 coats, and you're done. I don't know if you can see that. You certainly can't see it up close. And this I'm using my tablet, and it's just barely sitting on this holder, so I'm not going to try to zoom. But no, it's going to get dark before I get up close enough. This was done with the fan cap attachment, and I don't know if you can tell it, but it is there's no pebbling. It is smooth as silk. It's not grainy, it's not rough. This is a 60-40 mix of 60% thinner to 40% paint of this multi-purpose satin paint. Now this is kind of thick. This is not this is a little thicker than Ceramcoat's normal craft acrylic. But if leave in the comments, if you will, those of you who leave comments, if you want me to do that on camera, it'll just be for the body. I've already done I've actually already done the chassis and the frame. Now I did not do the frame with it. I did the frame with my Badger chrome. So, but you can do that. You can do it. You can do something like the frame with the fan cap. You just have a lot. You have more overspray. You're not. I guess waste is not a good word, but you lose a lot of paint. On your drop cloth and what have you, because it puts out, the fan cap with this gun puts out a very wide pattern. So if you want to see that, those of you who are interested in the craft acrylics, those of you who are, but if you want me to do that on camera, I will. You know, if not, you know, if I get a lot of people say no, don't do it, then I won't. But anyway, that's where we're at. So I hope to do at least 3 videos on this build. I've already started, like I said, with the chassis and the frame. I didn't want to get too far ahead before I made this video. I've had some things at work come up, and it's always something at work seems. All right, guys, that's it for now. I know this ran a little bit long, but I wanted to get all that said and let you know what's going on. We'll probably be doing some more NASCAR, old school NASCAR cars from back in the 70s. There's some new kits coming out. I know you've seen a couple other guys on here that's already showed some builds with some of the new kits, and my pal Chris is doing of the Buddy Baker NASCAR. So, you know, it's great to see the old kits coming back out again, and those are the old kind of cars I like to see, like my old drag cars, back when you could recognize, you know, you could tell what cars were what, instead of all of them looking the same. All right, guys, have a great rest of the week, great weekend. If I don't talk to you before the weekend or during the weekend, have a great weekend. Take care of one another. May God bless you and your family. Don't take any crap from anyone. See you soon.